destruction of the Strip's infrastructure and superstructure.
Dear viewers, to shed light on the potential influence of recently elected U.S. President Donald Trump on peace prospects and regional stability and on Egypt's efforts in supporting Gaza, we are pleased to be joined over the phone by our prominent guest, His Excellency Ambassador Ayoub Mahmoud Ayoub. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you and to the viewers.
It's always a pleasure having you with us. Your Excellency, what are the key outcomes that Egypt is aiming to achieve through the humanitarian summit in December, and how can this initiative bring tangible results and tangible relief to Gaza?
Egypt plays a prominent and important and vital role as far as peace process is concerned. Why? Because it has borders with the Gaza, with the occupied Palestine, and the other countries who are most concerned in this respect. Peace in the Middle East has a base. The base is Egypt, and Egypt is doing its best to bring the different parties together to reach a consensus or agreement on at least the minimum requirement for stable and lasting peace for the people of Gaza and the people of Western Bank of Jordan, so that we can proceed to a more stable Middle East, and this will be reflected on the prosperity of the countries and on the individuals of these countries. That is why Egypt is concerned and is paying more attention than before for these efforts, and it is beginning to bring positive results now. This is what we see.
Your Excellency, in your opinion, how might the involvement of the UN agencies, including all United Nations agencies, how can this involvement elevate the effectiveness of aid mobilization to Gaza?
United Nations organization, UNRWA, and other organizations play an important role in supplying assistance and stabilizing situation, especially in Gaza and the other places of the Middle East, which has to be supported, and Egypt is giving the maximum support to these organizations because we need a catalyst. When we are dealing with our adversaries, we need a catalyst. The catalyst is the United Nations organization. It has been there since 1948 and is working. Sometimes there are obstacles by Israel and other major parts of the world. But now we all see that it has to be supported, and Egypt is doing a vital part in this respect.
Your Excellency, Plenipotentiary Ambassador Ayoub Mahmoud Ayoub, in your opinion, how has Egypt's position on Palestinian rights influenced its regional alliances and relationships in the recent period or recent months?
Egypt hosts a big number of Palestinians, even in Egypt itself and in our hospitals and in our other organizations. They are taken care of. But Palestinians should live in Palestine in their own land. We are helping as far as we can within our means, and our means are in all ways they are limited. They are not unlimited, of course. So Egypt is playing a role, and other parties, I will not mention the names of the countries, have to play its role, because Egypt cannot shoulder all the burdens of the refugees by itself. The other countries in this respect should cooperate with Egypt to make things easier for the Palestinians, easier for the refugees, so that we can establish peace, permanent peace, and at the same time ensure that there will not be hiccups later on by this or that country or this or that organization, which will disrupt the peace process which Egypt began in 1974 or after 1974.
Your Excellency, can you please elaborate more on Egypt's three-track strategy, security, humanitarian, and political, and to what extent it can be effective in addressing the Gaza crisis?
In fact, Egypt has a big burden of assistance and support to Palestinians in Gaza and in the Western Bank. That is why it is playing a role, and it is also model of how can we support Palestinians and at the same time to minimize hostilities by the Israeli forces in this respect, so that we can proceed to a more stable peace in the region. And at the same time, if we don't do that, it will spill to other parts of the world. We have seen it in Lebanon, we have seen it in Syria and other countries in the Middle East. And so Egypt is playing a role, and it has been supported not only by the superpowers like the United States, but also by the United Nations, because we are doing a big job which should be supported by all concerned parties for the sake of peace and stability in the Middle East.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Ambassador Ayoub, Mahmoud Ayoub, the Plenipotentiary Ambassador, for your invaluable insights and information. You shed light on the critical role Egypt plays in fostering peace and stability in the region, and we are looking forward for the summit and hoping that these efforts are a step closer to stability in the region and to Gaza.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador. And dear viewers, regarding the efforts exerted by Egypt towards the sustainable Egyptian cities, Egypt is taking decisive steps towards creating sustainable climate-resilient cities with the launch of its Atlas of Sustainable Egyptian Cities unveiled at the 12th World Urban Forum. This pioneering initiative, led by the Ministry of Local Development and the Ministry of Environment, is aiming to address the country's urban challenges through innovative green solutions and collaborative governance. More details in the next report.
According to a statement by the Ministry of Local Development, Egypt launched the first phase of a new climate-focused initiative